Folks, welcome in to SportsBookReview.com. This is your Major League Baseball show for Wednesday, September 9th, 2020. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. Got a nice Wednesday card to go over. Looking back at yesterday, Jason, I laid down with a flea and came up with the cash with the Pittsburgh Pirates. But I got to tell you, watching that game and also talking to you yesterday, it almost seemed like it was going to play out perfectly. 4-4 heading into the ninth inning. Just needed to stretch it in the extra innings. You could have tacked on a couple more. I thought we both were going to pick up that easy winner. Pittsburgh comes up and gets the 5, but the White Sox fall just short. But it's another day, another dollar, and we are here to make some money. Jason, how you doing today, buddy?
Yeah, I can't complain. It was a 2-2 day for me in the MLB. So basically a push when you win the -106 and the -114, and then you lose the bigger one. So it is what it is. We'll move on. And I did call that Lindor home run and total bases prop. He did hit that home run. So it wasn't an official play, but it was official in my bank account. So it wasn't such a bad day after all.
I'll tell you, the one thing that really upset me, and I got to hold, because you're a Mets fan, I got to hold it against you here. Talking about the trifecta on the show yesterday. Boy, I like that team total over for the Orioles. Boy, I like the game over. Boy, I really like that Mets over. And I'm looking early in the game. I see the 4-1. I see it tacking on. I'm like, this is perfect. They're just going to throw a couple tomato cans in the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. The Mets can tack on some runs we can all eat. And they came up empty yesterday. I was so surprised when I came for the Mets. But, you know, the Orioles hit there. I've got 2 out of 3 in that one. Almost had the trifecta. But, hey, you can't win them all, as they say, Jason. Nice card set up here, so why don't we dip into it? But keep in mind also, there's a YouTube game going on right now, 0-0, top of the second inning between Milwaukee and Detroit. That's Burns and Boyd on the mound. But let's get into the games tonight. 9:03, 9:04, Kansas City and Cleveland. Duffy and Carrasco. 6 out of every 10 tickets here coming in on the Cleveland Indians. They open up, Jason, 211. It's dipped below 200 now. -188s, -190s across the board. And how about this? An over-under that opened up at 8 now sits at 7.5. I'm going to keep it simple in this one. I think I have the better pitcher on the mound with Carrasco. I think I have the better overall team. No Soler still out of the lineup for the Kansas City Royals, so not a lot of pop. I'm going to go run line first 5 innings with the Indians, Jason, -115. Give me a nice 2-1 at the end of 5 innings. I'll put that ticket in my pocket. What are you thinking about today in this one?
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. I was going to lean towards Indians -0.5 in the first 5 innings. Carrasco, he's looked really good in his last 2 starts, right? High K rate, allows hard contact, but the Royals have some high Ks themselves, so there won't be much hard contact if he's striking out batters. So, yeah, Carrasco, he's allowed 1 earned run in his last 2 starts, 12 innings pitched with 8 hits, does have 5 walks, but 13 strikeouts. That's the bigger number that I like to look at here. Then you have Duffy. He's a guy that doesn't get many ground balls, does have a high Sierra as well. He faced the Indians earlier in the season. I think it was his first start of the season. He allowed 2 runs in 4.1 innings pitched, just 2 strikeouts and no walks. But he has now allowed 9 earned runs in his last 11.2 innings pitched, and he's allowed 6 walks and 4 home runs in those 11.2 innings pitched. So, yeah, I think the Indians get ahead early and probably stay ahead late in this game as well.
I like it. It just sets up well for me. But again, you're going to rely on those Cleveland bats, which came up and got their team total yesterday. We'll see if they can do it again today. But I do like Cleveland in this game. 151 people already watching the show 3 minutes in. We thank you for that. 30 thumbs up already in the chat box. You know this is your Major League Baseball home for sports betting and gambling right here on SportsBookReview.com. Hit that link below, www.sbrpicks.com/MLB. All the write-ups are there. Jason's information is there. The live videos are there. Everything you need to be a better Major League Baseball gambler right here at SportsBookReview.com. Welcome into the chat box out there. James, Raymond, Nick, who else is out here? Tyrone, Vladimir, Steven, Steve, Sports Betting with Donnie's even out here. Steven Montez, Randy Sorry, Edwin Gonzalez, Rose Miller, Shaheem is out here. Who else is out here? We got anybody else here? Gabriel Katz, Dom, Jose, thank you guys for tuning in. We don't do this show. We don't keep the lights on unless you guys chime in. And you guys have been doing that, so we do appreciate it. 67,200 people have already hit that subscribe button. Thank you for doing that. Turn on your notifications on. And I guess, Jason, if they turn the notifications on now, they're going to get bombed out throughout the rest of the day with all the good information coming from Sportsbook Review, with all the actual games that are going on throughout the day. So a fun time to be a member here at SportsBookReview.com. 9:05, 9:06. The New York Yankees and the Toronto Blue Jays. Garcia versus Roark. If we look at the ticket split, it's about 50-50 here. I don't know what's gotten into the Yankees, but basically a 500 team, and it looks like they were going to run away or at least keep pace with the Rays over in the AL East. They open up as a favorite of -126, staying in that same range, -129s, -130s, 10s across the board in this one. I think the Yankees can hit in this game, and it's just a complete fate of Roark. He's been a mess this year. You're going to be able to stack some decent batters against him in a ballpark that is susceptible to runs. The Yankees currently sit right now as a team total over 5 at -122. That's the way I'm going in this game, Jason. What are your thoughts here between the Blue Jays and the Yankees in this one?
Yeah, I got the Yankees on minus -0.5 in the first 5 innings at -112. For me, the Yankees, look, they've lost 15 of their last 20. They've looked really, really bad, and I know that they've looked bad. Their offense is struggling, but they have a pitcher here, Garcia, who's a young prospect and has shown a lot of potential in his first 2 starts. His first start was fantastic. Second start, he allowed 4 runs on 5 hits, but still in that game had 6 strikeouts, 2 walks in 4.2 innings pitched. So you can expect him to go around 5 innings, if not more than 5 innings, versus this Blue Jays offense. And Roark, we talked about him. He doesn't get many ground balls. Has a high SIERA. His FIP right now is 6.31. His ERA is 5.74. We're talking about the Yankees. I know they've struggled offensively, but Roark is getting hit by righties with a 4.17 average. 4.17. That's ridiculous. Yeah. And then you go to the left side, right? The left side. So he's walking everyone on the left side. So the righties are hitting 4.17. Lefties are walking at a crazy rate. The righties have 14 extra base hits and 25 hits. So they have more extra base hits compared to singles when they're going up against Roark, those righties do. So, yeah, I think the Yankees definitely come around offensively. They definitely win this game. But you know what? I'm going to just worry about it in the first 5 and just fade Roark, like you said. Garcia, he's a good pitcher. He's got some great potential. Definitely high strikeout pitcher. Hasn't walked many batters. Doesn't have many jitters here. So I like Garcia in the spot. Yankees -0.5, first 5. It's an official play for me.
I like it, and I think it's the right move there. I think the Yankees are going to put up some runs. Always nice to get that 4.5 number. That 5 is usually my benchmark where I get nervous if I had to take a team total 5.5, which means you got to get the 6. But I still do like the Yankees. I think they can definitely get to the 5. And again, they're the road team in a smaller ballpark. No matter what happens in this game, I'm going to get those full 9 at bats. 907, 908. The Chicago White Sox and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Scene of the crime last night, which again, a little bit slow of a start here, but they turned it on late, and we almost had that perfect matchup, but just a bad bullpen outing by the Chicago White Sox in the 9th inning. Dunning and Brubaker are going to go at it today. About a 50-50 ticket split. Opened up as a heavy favorite, -175 offshore at SPRodds.com, but we now see that dip back. Pinnacle showing a -156. Chris, a -160. Some of the New Jersey outlets in between those high 50s to low 60 numbers, and a 9 that is now sitting across the board. And this game, as I thought yesterday, would be able to possibly get a over. They came close, but this one just sets up a little bit different for me today. I'm going to lean on the under. Bought it up a little bit here. Still listed at 5 dimes. And by the way, 5 dimes in the United States. At least only have it for a couple weeks left here, so we might as well use some of these lines if we can get them. First 5 innings, under 5. Bought up to -130. It's going to take 6 to beat me over those first 5 innings. That's the way I'm leaning on this one. Which way are you looking here, Jason? Any ideas here?
Yeah, I agree with the under in this game. Brubaker, this is a guy. He's been a bit high on the walks, but he's not really pitching terribly. That's the thing. He hasn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in any start this season. Sure, he hasn't gone deep in games and hasn't finished 5 innings in some of his starts, but still, he's keeping the Pirates in the game. And we saw the Pirates bullpen didn't pitch too bad yesterday. They were utilized a decent amount. So, they might be a little bit tired, but I'm gonna look at Brubaker and say, yeah, I think he can do enough to keep this game under in the first 5 and the full game. We're talking about Dane Dunning, another young prospect who's looked fantastic, like the Yankees have. This guy has high K numbers, a bit high in the walks, but he's getting plenty of swinging strikes and ground balls as well in his first 2 or 3 starts of the season. So, yeah, I like Dunning in this spot. I think the White Sox are the better team, but I do think this game stays close, and I do think it goes under in the first 5 and the full game.
I think it does. It's interesting weather out there. We were just talking a week and a half ago, 100-degree weather, and now we're seeing the complete shift. And it brings up a good point here because the next game, I had to do a double take, to be honest with you, Jason. I looked at this game and I said to myself, is this 7 innings? Is this what we're looking at? And here's the reason why. 917, 918, Bauer and Darvish. 5 out of every 10 tickets. So basically a 50-50 ticket split on this game. Opens up as a favorite for Darvish, 142. That now sits around 155. But how about this? We're talking Wrigley Field. We're talking a 6.5, and not a team total, a 6.5 total for the actual game. Now, you saw last night when the wind's blowing in, it's a different animal, Wrigley, the same way as if the wind's blowing dead out. But when we take a look at this baseball game here, you saw yesterday, getting out out quick, 2 to 3 runs right off the bat for the Cubs. Like, oh my God, they're going to blow out this easy number. Nobody scored the rest of the game. 2 good pitchers stat-wise that are going to head into this one. But I got to tell you, like, I look at this and I just want to say to myself, I just want to take the over because it's 6.5 and that's a ridiculous number. But I'm actually going to fall back and take the Cincinnati Reds first 5 reverse run line, getting the half of a run in this one if runs are going to be hard to come by. And I'm only paying minus 115 for that, currently at 5 dimes. I'm going to lean on Cincinnati in this game. But Jason, just seeing the 6.5, sometimes I just want to say, you know what? I'm betting just because it's 6.5, and that's a ridiculous number.
Yeah, so I think the Cubs are going to win this game. You know, I've been really high on Darvish all season.
Yeah,
and Bauer, and Bauer's had his struggles too. He's allowing home runs at a solid rate now, which 1.23 now per 9 innings, which is pretty high for an ace pitcher like Bauer. His hard contact is pretty wild. And the Cubs, they had 2 home runs versus Bauer in the last start that he had, which was a 7-inning game. But then you're looking at the line, and it's Cubs minus 165, and you're like, all right, well, that's kind of high for 2 ace pitchers on the mound. So, yeah, there's probably value on the Reds, but I still think Cubs will win this game. Then you look at the over and the under at 6.5. Well, then it's like, all right, well, these guys pitched against each other before, and they allowed like 3 runs in the entire game, which was a 7-inning game. So there's still 2 more innings that could have been played in that game, you know, to compare to this game. But you only see three runs, and you're like, all right, well, this game should go over. But then this game already went under previously with both these pitchers. So, yeah, this is such a tough game. It's so hard for me to choose. But like I said, I think Cubs will win the game. Maybe Cubs on the over on the team total, which is probably around 3.5, I would assume. So maybe Cubs over on 3.5 team total can get a couple off of Bauer and the rest off of the Reds bullpen. And, you know, I'd probably side with the over in the full game. But, again, I think maybe the Cubs over and the team total will be the best play in this one.
I hear you on that. And take a look at the chat box here. Raymond Reddington, the Brewers are up 3-0. And Steve S says, Matthew Trashcan, he does have a great game. Trash Can Boyd out here getting rocked again, no surprise. And if you're going to take the Brewers, you always take them against a left-handed pitcher, which Matthew Boyd is a left-handed pitcher. We'll see how the rest of that game goes off. But I know there were some alt lines out there. The 3.5s and the 4s were popping up for Milwaukee as a team total over. Looks like they're well on their way to doing that. Let's keep going out west. You get a nice weather game in this one. Typically, we see in the Bay Area out there, Jason, 60 degrees, 65 degrees. But first pitch, you're going to get mid-70s here for Houston and Oakland. 923 and 924 on the rotation. 7 out of every 10 tickets here coming in on the Oakland Athletics. They open up as a 155, and they're steadily rising. Pinnacle, 172. Chris, 170. PointsBet, FanDuel, and DraftKings in New Jersey close to 180 with a 9 that is across the board. I actually think they're going to get runs in this game. I do. You know, I don't really trust Garcia as a pitcher. Luzardo, you can load up some of those right-handed bats, which Houston, you know, say what they want, struggles with. They handle left-handed pitching fairly well. I lean on an over 9. I like the fact that I'm getting good weather out there. Don't have a great feel for it, but if I had to take a play in this one, I would lean towards the over. Which way are you looking in this game here, Jason?
Yeah, so Luis Garcia, this is going to be his first start in the major leagues. He had 1 relief outing previously, which was his debut. In that game, he went 4.1 innings pitched, allowed 1 home run, 3 walks, and a lot of hard contact that became outs. So after that game, he had a 2.08 ERA because he only allowed 1 run in 4.1 innings. But his FIP was 7.3 because his exit velocity was near 94 miles per hour. A lot of hard contact. Mm-hmm. So this is a guy... He went from single A all the way to the majors. So no double A, no triple A. He dominated single A. Of course he dominated single A. But he misses double A. He misses triple A, goes right to the majors. And he had a high strikeout rate and a low walk rate when he was pitching in single A. Well, now he goes and pitches against the Angels in that relief outing. Well, then he gets 3 walks, a lot of hard contact, only 2 strikeouts. When this is a guy that was striking out everybody in single A. So I think, you know, welcome to the majors, Garcia. So Athletics over 4.5 team total at minus 121. Like another official play for me. It will be, you know, one of my favorite plays on the day for sure. I don't trust Garcia. His numbers in the minor leagues were fantastic, but that was single A. He went from single A to the majors. That's welcome to the majors, kid. So yeah, this is for me an Athletics game where, you know, he walked 3 batters versus the Angels in that start. The Athletics against righties, they strike out a ton, but they also walk a ton versus righties. If they get them guys on base with that hard contact, anything can happen. Balls will go over the fence. There could be some jitters, especially on the road. Of course, there's no fans, but I mean, he's a young kid, man. He's a young kid with no experience in the major leagues. Walked a ton. I love the athletics in this spot.
Yeah, it'd be nice when Chapman also gets back as well, because I love the move to get Listelli. You're going to have a leadoff guy, had a little bit over 100 at-bats on the season versus right-handed pitching, weighted on base average 372, ISO of 213. That's a nice place to start. Looks like we'll get Marcus Semien also back in this game to go in the 2-hole. So you have a nice lineup also, a nice balanced lineup, 5 right-handed hitters, 4 left-handed hitters looking to be in the lineup. So that's a nice look that we can get by. 927, 928. We'll stay in the Bay Area, right across the bridge. Seattle and San Francisco, Margevicius versus Anderson. The battle of the lefties here, 50-50 ticket split. Line opened up at Pinnacle at minus 145. It's dipped a little bit now at 138. Chris is at 140. Some of the New Jersey outlets in the mid 140s. I like Margevicius as a pitcher here. I think they're a sneaky dog in this game, but I like the fact I already did a video early this morning on the Seattle Mariners, and alt line on that was 3, team total 3, minus 135. But the current line sitting around that minus 4, 105 to 110, depending on where you get at. If you take a look at Anderson, his home numbers, the splits are kind of interesting because you look at his home numbers and his starts, Jason, a 2.4 ERA, like, oh my goodness, what is he, Clayton Kershaw at home? But the xFIP numbers tell a different story where he's elevated over 5, 5.5, and 6 between both right-handed and left-handed batters. Eventually, that's going to catch up to you. But when you take a look at the Seattle lineup, you think to yourself, boy, it's not a great hitting lineup, but sometimes the profile of the lineup can really fit. And I think you're going to get some runs tonight in San Francisco, as opposed to taking the over 9, which I do think they're going to be able to get in this baseball game. I like the Seattle Mariners, and I guess we'll go with the team total of 4. And I think they can get 4 runs at least, maybe get the 5, but don't be scared of that 2.4 ERA that Anderson has at home. He's going to get some fly balls in this game. Just need a couple to leave the park. I'm going to take the team total over Seattle in this one, Jason. Which way are you looking here?
Yeah, like I had the Mariners at plus 130 as an underdog
I like
potential. I agree with you here 100%. Yeah, I think we forget the Mariners are actually fighting for a playoff spot.
Yes.
Right? I don't think we realize this, right? The Mariners are a couple of games out of the playoffs, with those Yankees falling apart. So the Mariners they have something to play for too. Like they're not just playing to get home in 2 weeks. So they're fighting for a playoff spot, and the Mariners definitely have the better pitcher on the mound. Definitely can score some runs versus Anderson, like you said. I agree. Mariners can definitely pull off the upset. Definitely score some runs. They have the 9 innings to do it. I think the Mariners at plus 130 is a nice opportunity for an underdog here.
Let's do it. Let's see what Seattle's got to offer today. 300 people now, plus over 300 people now in the chat box. We do thank you for that. 69 thumbs up. You guys are the best out here. SBRpicks.com/MLB for all your MLB needs. NFL is about to get underway. College football is underway. Soccer is getting underway. NBA playoffs are underway. A lot of good stuff to look forward to right on the channels. And, of course, the Major League Baseball show right here, 1:30 p.m. where we carry you through all. Hey, look, just because there's football on doesn't mean we can't eat in Major League Baseball. We're going to do it the entire rest of the month, and also have some playoff action with the expanded playoffs. We're going to have some good nuggets here to give out right here on the networks. Let's circle back and hit some of these games that we didn't have circled, Jason. 9:09, 9:10, Miami and Atlanta. Lopez on the mound versus the lefty Malone. That's 50-50 ticket split here. Opens up at 139, drops down a little bit to 129. New Jersey outlets in those mid 130s. If we take a look at the team total, opened up at 9 offshore Pinnacle. That now sits at 8.5. So there's a split between 9s and 8.5s with some juice out here. Usually I just look at it and say, boy, Malone is going to get teed up in this game. Lopez is a good pitcher. You usually have a good hitting environment in Atlanta. Again, the Marlins, when I always talk about like fitting my profile of what I like to look at a game, I can't get a grasp on the Marlins because I look at the lineup, I'm saying, now, wait a second. How do they produce? You look at the pitchers that have decent numbers like Lopez, you're like, who is this guy? And what am I going to get out of the bullpen? We know the Atlanta bats typically come to play, but I look at this game like a first 5 inning, take a plus money number with the Marlins, say, hey, I don't really care what happens in the bullpen, but I have the better pitching matchup earlier like you would have had the other day with Sixto Sanchez. I don't have a great feel for this game because the Marlins, again, just don't fit my eye. But they look like a live dog in this game to me.
Yeah, like I think we're on the same page on every game today. Yeah, I love the Marlins too. Like you look at those Marlins. Last night they looked incredible. Sanchez did what he had to do, and the offense did do what they had to do as well. They scored plenty of runs, and they can definitely do that versus Malone. Righties are now hitting 339 versus Malone on the season with 16 extra base hits and 39 hits in 115 at bats on the season. So since pitching with the Braves, Malone, he's now allowed 8 earned runs in 6.1 innings pitched. Of course, you remember that Phillies game, the Nationals game, he allowed just 1 run, of course. But in that game, there was a lot of chances for the Nationals to score runs. There was a robbed home run. Just a lot of luck went Malone's way in that start. So in his 2 starts with the Braves, hasn't looked good at all. and these are two NL East teams. Now he goes and plays another NL East team like the Marlins, who are pretty hot offensively after dominating right yesterday. So I agree. The Marlins plus 115 are a nice underdog play. First five, definitely with Pablo Lopez on the mound. The Marlins definitely have the edge in this one.
Yeah, the Marlins going to mess around and make the playoffs. A team that just straight up was trying to tank before the season, already with a bad roster. Then the entire roster got COVID, and here they are fighting with the Phillies and the Mets and the Braves here and taking them down left and right. It's amazing to watch, and specifically we look on the West Coast where so many teams are still in it, like the San Francisco Giants. We laughed at them as well. Seattle, supposed to be one of the worst teams,
and the Tigers.
Yes, it's absolutely outrageous this year. And what else could you expect from 2020? Some outrageousness in Major League Baseball. 9-13. 9-14, Baltimore and the Mets. Do they turn it back on today? Porcello is on the mound. Need a much better effort out of him today than you got out of Michael Wacha yesterday versus Lopez. 6 out of every 10 tickets here, though, coming in on the road team here, Jason. Those Orioles, we see a total opened up at 9.5, still sitting at 9.5 at most outlets. Over 9, minus 120s to minus 125s at certain outlets that you'll be shopping at. 166 now sitting at 188, so a heavy favorite for the New York Mets. And I see that same number out here, that 3.5, minus 130, minus 135 on the Orioles is very tempting. But even though, and here's the best part about it, like bad taste in your mouth, you leave yesterday. I thought the Mets team total was a pretty good play yesterday. It didn't come in. I look at it again today, and I still think it's a really good play matching up against Lopez here. You have a lot of left-handed bats that are going to be jumping in the lineup for the Mets today. You're going to see Robbie Cano get back into the game. I think the Mets are pretty live play here. I like the team total over 5 for the Mets. I still like that 3.5 because you figure 9 at bats, 4 runs, anything can happen in these type of games. I understand if you want to take Baltimore like yesterday was a pretty easy one. I just like the Mets in this game. I think the Mets are the better team. I don't want to lay the 180, but I do think they're going to win a game 6-4 as opposed to 3-2 in this game. So I'll lean on the Mets team total over 5 here, Jason. What are you looking at with your Mets today?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like I'm looking at the FIP, and Porcello has an FIP of 2.97.
Yeah,
his xFIP is 4.53. But it's like I've been watching the Mets every day, right? And I watch Porcello every start. He hasn't been good. A 2 point, like you look at these metrics and you're like, all right, yeah, Porcello's not too bad. But no, he hasn't been good. He's 1-4 in 8 starts. His strikeout numbers are really low. For former Cy Young, 2.31 walks, not too bad. Not allowing home runs, but his BABIP is 366. He's allowing hard contact. It's not like yeah, he's getting unlucky. I mean, he's not pitching well. His ground ball rate is 37.9%. Like I'm not high on Porcello at all, but it's just funny to see his FIP is 2.97. Like it seems like a joke. But the reality is he's the better pitcher than Jorge Lopez, and Lopez, this guy with a very high Sierra. Like you said, we'll have a tough test versus the Mets in this game. I don't think the Mets will end up losing 2 straight, especially embarrassing fashion to the Orioles. Lopez, he's now allowed 3+ runs in both starts this season, 7 walks in 19.1 innings pitched. So yeah, I like the Mets too in this one. On the team total or on the money line, but the money line is now expensive at around minus 190 I'm seeing. And I don't know if you can really trust Porcello at minus 190 in this game, but over 9.5 probably seems like the play as well.
Right, Kate. Mets, bats, wake up today. Jace Gumbo on the O's today at plus 170. I'll fade Porcello every chance I get. Jay Peach, take the Orioles when they're hitting, which is now they dominate. Book it. Jake the Degenerate. Donnie, do you ever take team total under? No. Because it just does. To me, it doesn't make sense. Like everything in Major League Baseball is designed to score runs, including putting a man on second base in the 10th inning in case you only have 2 or 3 runs and you need to juice it up. Everything fits your profile. And my old adage goes, if you hit a team total under or a game under, you absolutely flat out just got lucky. So there you go. That's my thought process on that. Let's keep going here. A couple more games. 9:21, 9:22 down in Texas. The Angels. Angels, where's your bats? Whoa, do we not travel with our bats, Los Angeles Angels? Now they're going to come up today against Cody, and it's going to be Tehran on the road for the Angels. 9 out of every 10 tickets are coming in on Texas. And they open up as a minus 105, stay as a minus 105. Slight favorite out there, minus 111 at Chris. If you're looking to bet the Angels, over-under opened up at 9.5, rising up to 10. And I do agree with that here because when I take a look at Julio Tehran, He just can't get anybody out. It doesn't even matter what type of lineup you're going to run. You can roll out a few left-handed bats in this Texas lineup. Every metric makes sense. It's a shame that you look at Tehran because you would like a better lineup, a lot of superstars. They'll really take it down. Somebody like the White Sox that could just go yard. But even though bad baseball teams, they're still major league hitters. And if a pitcher is struggling, they're going to be able to tattoo him. I see some runs coming in this game specifically from Texas's side. Do I want to take Texas to actually win the game? Probably not. But I'm not taking Tehran. So I'm going to lean towards that Texas over team total. And I'm also going to lean towards Texas in this game as a pick 'em.
Yeah, I agree. Over 9.5 I saw earlier. Now seeing that there's a lot of 10s out there, I'd even pay up the juice for an over 9.5 if you wanted this game. Kyle Cody, there's a lot of tickets on Kyle Cody, but this is a guy that's walking now 6.14 batters per 9 innings. So while he's not allowing many hits, no home runs yet, of course, in 7.1 innings pitched, 6.14 walks, 9.82 strikeouts per 9 innings. He's been erratic in his 7.1 innings pitched so far this season. I'm not really high on Cody either. But this is a guy, he's tough. He's tough to read, right? We don't really know too much yet. Small sample size and all of that. He hasn't folded with runners on scoring position or with runners on base, but that could change any moment now. And then, Julio Teheran, he's a guy that also walks plenty, but not nearly as high as Cody does. Does have a high Sierra as well. He's now allowed multiple runs in every start this season. He's allowed 7 home runs in 22.2 innings pitched. So averaging now 2.78 home runs per 9 innings, which is really bad for Teheran. So over 9.5 seems like the play. If I had to pick a winner, I'd go with the Rangers at plus money at home after seeing what happened last night, but I'd rather take the over.
Senzatella Davies, Slam Diego appeared yesterday once again. So we're going to go today back to the Padres. 6 out of every 10 tickets here coming on San Diego, but it's expensive. Opened up at minus 183 offshore. Now we're seeing 170s, mid 180s across the board. Total of 9 that it opened up at. Still currently sitting at 9 across the board. Look, it's an expensive number. San Diego is a pretty talented team. I would lean that way. Maybe a run line first 5 innings just to go heads up, and I'll take that lineup to win any day. Don't have a great feel. It's a little bit too expensive for me. I do think they can get those overall 9 runs, which means you would have to get the double digits to cash it. Don't have a great feel in this game. What are you thinking about this game, Colorado and San Diego here, Jason?
Yeah, I think, at the end of the day, the Rockies bullpen is the big key here. So, Senzatella, he's been great. He hasn't been great. He's been really good, not great. He's been really good. His strikeout numbers are low. Walk rate is also low. He's had a couple bad starts, a couple good starts. He hasn't been bad compared to what we expected this season. But the reality is, once he comes out of the game, you get that Rockies bullpen, and they are a Rocky bullpen. So therefore, I look at the Padres here. Zach Davies has been really impressive this entire season. 6-2 in 8 starts this season. 2.23 ERA, a 3.29 FIP. He's now allowed 0 earned runs in his last 2 starts. He did allow 4 runs versus the Rockies in his last start, but those were all unearned runs. And then he pitched 2 games. Then we were both on the road versus Colorado on the season. So far, just a 187 batting average for batters this season versus Davies, and allowed just 4 home runs in 48.1 innings pitched. So Davies has been really good. Did have high walks in his last start, but I would expect his walks to be lower in this game. Davies is the better pitcher. The Padres have the better team and better bullpen than the Rockies. Padres can score a couple of runs early, definitely score a couple of runs late in this game. I like the Padres for the full game here.
Abel Alvarez out here. Parlay the Dodgers and Padres. I think Abel Alvarez has the Dodgers every single game for his entire life. But then again, can you fight against it? Because it seems like it cashes damn near every night. So why not we segue right into it? 925, 926, the Dodgers and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Kershaw versus Clark. Yep. Road team, minus 275. Just your average, close to 300 number for a road team that you'll see each and every day in Major League Baseball. Opens up at 9, currently sitting at 9 across the board. And here's the thing that I like down there in that big can opener. The roof was open last night. All hell broke loose. Do I think Arizona can get all hell broke loose against Clayton Kershaw? Probably not, but there's no reason to believe 9 at-bats tonight, or nine chances to take a swing at the plate here each inning for the Los Angeles Dodgers. They should be able to get their team total. They should get after that weak bullpen. I like the Dodgers team total over, which usually would say you would like the over 9, but when Kershaw's on the mound, it's like, hey, you know what? Does it surprise you if he's 5 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, no earned runs? You don't want to worry about that. Just give me the Dodgers team total in this game. If that tin can is open, they'll pop some balls all over that ballpark. That's the way I'm going with this one. What are you thinking about here between the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers, Jason?
Yeah, now Taylor Clark, this is a guy who struggled in his last start versus the Giants. He allowed 6 hits, 3 runs, and 3 innings pitched. Also had 3 walks. And that's not surprising because Clark is now walking about 5 batters per 9 innings on this season. He's average at best. He's an average pitcher with a high SIERA and a high walk rate. And the Dodgers, if they get on base, they can definitely smash and get plenty of runs on a single hit, on a home run over the fence with guys on base. And you have Kershaw on the mound, who's been fantastic all season long. 5-1 in 6 starts, getting 10.25 strikeouts per 9 innings. Walking just 1.5 batters per 9 innings. His BABIP is low. Getting ground balls at over 60% of the time. His FIP is 3.26. Yeah, 2 straight starts or 2 straight starts with no runs. His last start was versus the Diamondbacks. 8 strikeouts, 2 walks, 1 hit, and 6 innings pitched. I expect the same in this start as well. In 2 starts this season so far versus Diamondbacks, no runs allowed for Kershaw. Expect that again from Kershaw in this one. So yeah, I love the Dodgers here, but of course the price is so high, so I'd rather go look at the Dodgers over 5.5 in the team total. There's if you want to take minus 2.5 on the Dodgers, be my guest, but I don't have the guts for that. And if you do, then you do.
No, you're right, because it looks like, they can do that, but then when you get in the later innings where the runners don't really, you played baseball before. Hey, let them take first, let them steal second and third. That's not the run we're worried about, and there goes your run line. Happens time and time. It's timeless in Major League Baseball to have that happen. Well, we completed the entire card today. It's time for best bets and bankers. I'm going to go first. Going for winner 14 out of my last 15 games. Obviously, it's mostly team totals and mostly overs, and you do have to get down with some really bad baseball teams, even though you don't like the profile of the game. Some of the stuff really makes sense, and I'm going to dip back and go down to Texas here, Jason. I'm going to take the Texas Rangers team total. Now, I got it earlier today at 4 at minus 130, but I'm a man of the people. Some people might not be able to get that, so we're going to go with the 4.5 with light juice, minus 105 to minus 110, depending on where you're shopping at. Here's the reason I like this, because it's not a great lineup that you stack when you have the Texas Rangers going up against Julio Teheran, but you are going to get 6 to 7 left-handed bats, and that's going to be the key to the equation. On the season, Julio Teheran, a 443 weighted on base average to lefties. They're absolutely raking him. But if you take a look and just look at the overall profile of the game, Teheran is a better pitcher on the road, a 462 at home to lefty and righties. On the road, a 319. But when you try to start to break that down on the road versus lefties, that weighted on base average to lefties, a 407. If we slide that down even further on the season to lefties overall, a 6.11 xFIP. And then if we take a look at on the road versus lefties, a 7.04 xFIP. So even though you don't have great batters in the lineup, Joey Gallo should have ample room to tee off on a few of these. We don't need the 5s. We don't need the 5.5s. We just have to get over that 4.5. So a 5 is going to be a winner tonight to make it 14-1 in my last 15. Texas Rangers team total, and I'm not going to cheat you guys and take the 4 like I have it. We're going to go with the 4.5, minus 105 to minus 110. We'll get 5 runs. We'll cash this, and we'll roll it over. Jason, take it away. Best bets and bankers from you, buddy.
Yeah, so I'll go with the Yankees minus 0.5 in the first 5 innings. We're fading Rourke. Rourke's been so bad. 6.31 FIP. The Yankees have struggled, but I think this allows us to get such a small line at minus 112. With the Yankees struggling, they definitely have the edge in this matchup with the better pitcher. The offense should be able to score some runs versus Rourke. And like you said, you're taking bad offenses to dominate against really bad pitchers. And that's what I'm doing with the Yankees, basically. It's an offense that's been performing bad, but they do have some quality guys in the lineup, just like Joey Gallo and like Gary Sanchez. He's struggling, but he can definitely tee off against Rourke in this game, as long as he's in the lineup. I would assume he's going to be. But Yankees minus 0.5 in the first 5 at minus 112 will be an official play. And then the banker play and the final play for me are the Athletics over 4.5 team total at minus 121 against Luis Garcia and the Astros. Garcia, like I said, it's going to be his first major league start. Didn't look great in his first relief outing versus the Angels. And now you have the Athletics with a balanced lineup coming out there versus Garcia. This is a team that walks a ton against righties. They do strike out, but again, Garcia's a guy that struck out a ton in single A, but when you get to the major league level, it's a little bit harder to strike out batters. You had a lot of hard contact versus the Angels, and I expect that in this one as well with runners on base. So Athletics over 4.5 team total, -121. It's an official play for me. It's the banker play for me, and those are my 2 plays for the day.
There we go. Couple plays. We did it. And again, about 35 minutes covered the entire card. Got some good ones that we can cheer on tonight. Afternoon baseball. You also have some NBA basketball, NHL on. Getting ready for tomorrow, the NFL. It's all happening at sportsbookreview.com. 67,200 people have subscribed. If you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button. Turn your notification button on. You'll get all this great information delivered directly to your inbox to come in and say hello. Look at the chat box. It was absolutely popping today. 350 people, as I said, watching live. We do thank you for doing that. We'll be back again tomorrow. Not a huge card, but there's going to be some gems that Jason and I will be able to uncover. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. We're sportsbookreview.com, and this was your Major League Baseball show. Good luck.